Thank you very much, Lescan Corla. And I'd like to say I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the Mayor of Limerick City and Limerick County, and I give away to my learned colleague here, Deputy Richard O'Donoghue, whose area we're actually talking about. But our experience of, I would have serious reservations at the same time as to the costing of this mayor for the county. Where is the money going to come from? Are the government going to put their hands up and say, we are going to fully fund this mayor for the 5 years that they're in the term, or is it going to be the local council that are going to have to pay it? Or is it, and is this money, obviously it's coming from the taxpayers, so it has to be a fierce accountable. Coming from a government who got the previous government, the same crowd in here, who got rid of the local town councils, is a little bit rich to think that they're trying to set up some little bit of democracy in some county today. So my very, very serious concerns about how this is going to be rolled out. But I do have to respect the democratic decision of the people of Limerick, and they made that democratic decision. And anything that's made in democracy, sometimes I may not agree with it, but I have to accept it. And I'd like to know, Minister, the exact powers this mayor is going to have. Is it going to be waving and kissing and hugging and waving out back windows of the car or whatever? Is that what we're going to have in Limerick? Are we going to have someone with a bit of bite in it, or her, and deliver for the people of Limerick and Limerick City? Well, you don't know.
We're very likeable people in Limerick.
Yeah, lovable people. And looks like, we have to look at, I suppose, my worry and my concern would be that this will become obviously a political football. So you'll Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil kicking to see can they have a mayor with their tag on it. And if that's the case, are we going to be in the same situation as we are right now at this time, where ministers are more or less feeding information to their own politicians in their constituencies, saying that Fine Gael got the money for you, Fianna Fáil got the money for you. So as this mayor, if he ends up being, or she ends up being a Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil minister, hopefully it might be an independent, who knows. It's a great country and people will have a decision, and they'll be able to make that decision. What I'm saying is, are they going to be elected as a mayor for the people? That's what we need, and that's an example that needs to be led from here and hasn't been led from here for many, many years. I've seen how ministers, how they work. It can be quite poor, to be quite honest with you. It can be quite poor. Maybe I'm in the opposition. Maybe if I was in government, I'd be maybe think it was a great idea. But personally, I don't think I would. I think I'd play ball as fair as I could if I was in a ministerial position. And I would certainly feel that when a minister comes to a constituency, I see the way they work. They call a couple of their own local politicians, and that's it. If they can help it. Very seldom you see open transparency. So I'd be very worried about the way the kind of the constitution or the rules, the regulations that's laid out, that whoever gets elected, if this seems like it's going to go ahead, that is the way it's going to happen, that the mayor is representing everybody in Limerick, regardless of whether they're that person's politics or not. And if it doesn't happen, we're going to be back in the same charade as we are with a lot of ministers in this country as we have at this present time. Not everyone, but quite a lot. As I said, he got away with, he got rid of town councils, which was a huge blow to the whole of this country. And because he got rid of it, like the government of the day, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Phil Hogan was done a hatchet job, and he all jumped on, and Labour, and you all patted him in the back and accepted that. Only one town didn't, and that was Clonakilty in West Cork, and they stood up to you, and they still have a town council. And I wish the mayor of Clonakilty, Paddy McCarthy, and those who serve the people of Clonakilty voluntarily, Anthony McDermott and many more, who give their time voluntarily to the people of Clonakilty. And I think you should be concentrating your efforts more on bringing back a town council. I think it's in the programme for government somewhere, is it? Or has it been forgotten? Have you decided to power wash that out with everything else? Because town councils deliver for people in their local communities, and you still hear from people saying, do you know what, there's nothing happening in this place since the town council has gone. We have no one to talk to, and I think you need to look at that going forward. We talk about, like, I suppose, the boundary, and the boundaries have to be laid out as to where is the mayoral position stopping and starting, and I'm very disappointed when you talk about boundaries, the way the Boundary Commission dealt with Cork South West this time. A constituency that's hugely grown. We have an area, you could literally say one town, Ballineen and Skeen. Cork South West is Ballineen. The same the town that's attached to it is in Cork North West, and they're totally, they feel lost to the political system out there. Places like Newcestown, Castletown, Kennan, North of Dunmanway, they're in West Cork, and they're being taken out of West Cork previously, prior to me being bringing here to the Dáil, and I was the only one to put forward a submission in, I'd say, Munster, but anyhow, I'd be careful of that, but certainly in Cork, to the Boundary Commission. I heard, I got a reply in acknowledgement, but we got nowhere, and sadly, no changes. And I think one of the Boundary Commission said that Cork was Cork South West on the map is a bit like Cuba, but you know, Cuba could be looked at too, you know. And South West Cork should have been looked at, and these areas should not have been excluded, and it was a big blow to the democracy of the people of those areas. Look, you know, we talk about, like, you know, doing away with town councils. You took away a lot of the powers. My big concern too is the councils. Like, are the councils going to lose powers here? Because they've lost so much powers. County managers seem to be making decisions now, and councillors seem to just have to go along with it and nod and wink as they go along. And are we going to be in a similar situation here, that the county manager and the mayor are going to make decisions for Limerick, Limerick County, Limerick City, and the councillors are going to just hear about it afterwards? That's an astonishing situation they'll find themselves in if that's going to be the case. And I would appreciate, maybe, Minister, you might get an opportunity to answer some of those questions later on. Thank you.